Okay, so this is a continuation of our two-part series on ICAN's new FL MAX all-road wheels. We're testing the FL MAX 38s, and today we're going to do an inspection. In part one, what we did was talk about the wheels, show the full lineup, and explain the features and benefits of this interesting new set of wheels, this whole new series of wheels from ICAN. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to look at them from the point of view of a wheel builder and do a quality control check on the build quality of the wheels. And we'll get going on that right away. Like with every set of new wheels I check out, I like to put them through a wheel builder's inspection. So I look at the wheel, both wheels, and I check them out and make sure that they're built to the standards that I would build to. So you can see my list here. We're going to look at trueness, side to side, roundness up and down, rim centering, spoke length, spoke tension, spoke twist, see if they're stress relieved, the spokes are stress relieved. And then we'll just do some basic tire checks because you don't want to buy a new set of wheels and have a real hard time putting the tires on. So we'll see how easy the tires go on and off on these new ICAN FL38 rims. Let's look at the trueness side to side of the rear wheel here. I put this little ruler in here so you can see we're zoomed in real tight, so the clearance between the indicator on the truing stand and the rim is very small there, and you can see that's millimeters on the ruler, fractions of millimeters. So we'll give it a spin and see how they did on the trueness side to side. So you can see it's not perfect, but it's really good, and you'd never feel that. And if I move the pointer away like this, you can't see anything unless you really focus. So that's a nice true rear wheel side to side. Now I switched, and this is the front wheel. Let's check this one out. That's not perfect either, but it's a little more perfect than the rear wheel. So it's a tiny bit better. It's a really nice wheel. The rear wheel and the front wheel are both very nice and true. Now we'll switch and we'll look at roundness, look for up and down issues. So we're zoomed in really close. This is the front wheel, and we're going to check for the roundness of the front wheel. I'll put the ruler in here. I can't clamp it like I had it before, but I'll put it in here just so you can see what we're talking about. Fractions of a millimeter. Less than we were even looking at on the front, on the side to side, on the trueness. But this is roundness. Let's give it a spin. Check it out. I let it rub a little bit so you can hear it. That helps you see it too. It just helps to hear it and see it. Now if I just turn the caliper out just a hair, it's not rubbing anymore. That's a beautiful wheel. It's super nice and round. So the front wheel is really round. That's a nice wheel. So switch, I'll put the rear wheel in. So here's the rear wheel. We'll check this for roundness too. You'll notice that I moved the other pointer away. It's hard for the camera to see this unless I set everything right. I have a piece of paper behind it, that white paper, so you can see the difference. Otherwise, you'd be looking between black and black. So anyway, it's a slightly different setup, but it's the same thing, and this is to check for the roundness of the rear wheel. So we'll give it a spin. Have this set so it'll rub a little bit, just like I did with the front wheel, so you have a chance to hear it. So it's rubbing a little bit, but if I just turn this knob out a tiny little bit, you can see the distance now. You can see, just like that front wheel, the rear wheel they really did a nice job. Very round. So that's beautiful for roundness and trueness. You're not going to see wheels much better than that. So ICAN did a nice job. The next check, we want to make sure that the rim was built so that it's centered over the hub. That will guarantee that when you put the wheel in the frame, it'll sit straight in the frame. And to do this, we have a tool called a dishing gauge, or a wheel centering gauge, or a centering tool that looks like this. It's a pretty simple gauge. It's got feet on this foot here and a foot here. That's got a pointer here, which is adjustable. And you put it on one side of the rim and you adjust it so that all three things touch the rim. So, well, not the rim and the axle, the pointer in the middle hits the axle. And so you make a little adjustment, make sure it's perfectly adjusted on one side. You get all 3 pointers so that they touch, they rest on it. And then you flip the wheel over and you check the other side. And if both sides match, you know that the wheel is perfectly centered. The rim is perfectly centered over the hub, and the wheel will perfectly center in the frame. Front wheel is spot on. So now we'll check the rear wheel. Same process. Flip it over. Yep, perfect. Just like the front wheel. Great job, ICAN. Those wheels are nice and centered. The rims are centered. Well done. The next thing to check is spoke length, but it's tricky for the camera to pick it up, so I can't go around share every spoke around the rim. But what I do is I look in there with a flashlight, and you could see the spoke nipple there and the spoke inside it. And basically what you're looking for is the spoke is within 1 millimeter or so of the top of the nipple. And I've gone around the wheel and looked at them, and they're all pretty good, right where you want them. See if I could show you another one. Yeah, it's hard to light them up, but there's another one. It's right where it should be, which means they did their homework. They calculated the spoke lengths right, which you would expect. There's another one that's really good. So I give them high marks on their spoke length too. They're fine. Next, we'll take a spoke tensionometer tool and we'll go around and we'll measure each spoke. We're going to measure the spokes on the tight side, which is on the rear wheel, which is the cassette side on the rear wheel. On the front wheel, it's on the rotor side or the disc brake side. So we just start at the valve stem. We're going to go around. So there's 24 spokes in this wheel. So we're going to check the spoke tension, the tightness of 12 spokes. And the tool gives you a reading. And we're trying to test is that are the tensions all similar, very close to each other. And we're seeing between 31 to 33, 4. So they are very consistent. Now these are flat spokes, so if I move the tool, it changes the needle that's resting on the spoke. So that's why the numbers are changing a little bit. Oh, that's done. We've done 12. So we just did the 12 spokes, and we saw a nice even tension all the way around. So here we go with the front wheel. So that's nice. We have nice even spoke tension on the front wheel too. And the front wheel and the rear wheel are very similar. The front is maybe a tiny bit tighter than the rear wheel. So if you come in, look at these spokes close, I think you can see that they're flat spokes. Actually, they're kind of oval in shape, but they're arrow spokes. So ideally, the arrow spoke would be flat to the wind. I've got a little tool on there, and you put the tool on there and you can gauge how aligned the spokes are with the wind so that they're as arrow as possible. So the next check, we'll go around and we'll check these spokes and we'll see how arrow they are. So what we want to see when I put the tool on there is you want the tool to be pretty perpendicular to the rim. That tells you the spoke is flat, not twisted into the wind. So I'm just going to go around and check them. Now there's 24 spokes on each wheel, so it takes a little while. So I'll start at the valve stem and I'm going to put the tool on the spoke on the right side, left side, and just go around the wheel. And we'll get an idea how good they are, how bad they are. And you should be able to see it in the pretty good in the camera. So what we're looking for is that it's perpendicular. I would say there's only 10% of the spokes in this wheel that I would even worry about. So they did a pretty good job on the front wheel. This is the front wheel. Let's switch. Let's do the same thing to the rear wheel. Okay, here we go. Well, that's actually nice to see. These are better than the previous wheels I've checked out. The spokes are closer to perfect all the way around. This one too just had a few that were out. So they did a good job on aligning those arrow spokes. The last wheel check is to see if the wheels were stress relieved. When they build the wheels, they start off loose, and then gradually as they tension the spokes get tighter and tighter, and things settle. The nipple might pull into the rim, the spoke might seat to the hub, but basically to make sure that nothing does not get seated and finished, they stress relieve the wheels. Most factories that make wheels use some kind of a hydraulic press that pushes. The wheel is held and it pushes. What I'm going to do is check to see if there's any stress still in the wheel. And I do this by simulating a lateral press on the side of the wheel. It's going to look like I'm hurting the wheel, but it doesn't hurt the wheel. It looks like it. But I'm just going to put some lateral force. If we hear any pings and pops, it suggests that maybe they didn't get all the built-in stress out of the wheel. But then we're going to put it in the truing stand after we do this. We're going to see if they're still nice and round and true like they were when we checked them out before. So I just started the valve stem, put the wheel on the ground like this, and I'm just going to put some weight on it. Not a lot of weight. I just want to put a little lateral force on it. This is a rubber floor, so it's not hard on the axle. Flip it over and do it to the other side too. I'm not hearing anything. That's a good sign. Okay, that's the rear wheel. Repeat, front wheel. If wheels aren't stress relieved, they can loosen when you're riding. Wheels can go out of true when you're riding if the spokes loosen. Okay, let's see how they look in the truing stand after we did that. So this is the front wheel after I checked it on the floor there to see if it was stress relieved. I don't know if you remember, but I can see that it hasn't changed at all. So the wheels were nicely stress relieved, and they're not going to go out of true short of some real bad accident or something. So let's put the rear wheel in, check that out. So the rear wheel looks just as good too. Both wheels were properly stress relieved, and both wheels are still nice and round and true, just like before. So that's a great sign. Another attribute of a great set of wheels. The last checks have to do with the tire and how the tire goes on the rim. And you can see that the tubeless valves look very nice. They've got a rubber base, they have a rubber grommet, and the threaded nuts thread down and press that rubber grommet, which should seal nicely. And they do have removable valve cores, which you need for tubeless, of course, so they're there. And I installed one rim strip so you can see how nice that is. You're looking for complete coverage from one side of the rim to the other. This is an adhesive rim strip, so it's a tubeless rim strip, but it'll work if you use tubes too. That's very nice, fits perfectly, and it was easy to put in. As a last check, I have a couple different tires to try putting on the rim because it should be easy to put tires on and off the rim. It shouldn't be difficult. So I have a modern tire, tubeless ready Pirelli P0 tire. Let's see if we can just pop it on here. This is a new tire. I took it out of the box, but it hasn't been ridden on. So one side went on nice and easy. And it's on. This is a 30 millimeter wide tire. Let's see if we can get it off. Sometimes they go on easy, they don't come off easy. Yeah, it's going to come off too. All right. That was pretty easy. So this is a completely different tire. This is sort of old school Pan Racer. Not a tubeless tire. This is just a regular tire. And this is actually a smaller tire. This is like the minimum width for this rim, which is 28. Let's see if we can get this one on. They're both folding bead tires, so this should go on pretty good. Okay. One side's on, one side the other side. These are nice tires. All right, that wasn't much tougher to put on than the other one. So once again, let's see if we can get out of here, off of here. Trick to getting tires on and off easily is pulling up over here and working around the tire to get the beads of the tire into the middle of the rim. If you can get them in the middle of the rim, you can get some slack at the top, and you can just roll the tire off the side. So both these tires went on and came off nice and easy. So that's a good rim. Checked out really nice, these wheels. Passed all the tests with flying colors. Here's how I would grade the wheels. We'll give them an A for Trueness, an A for Roundness, another A, another A, another A, spoke twist. I'd give them an A minus. They're really good, but they could have fixed just a couple more spokes. Stress relieving, an A, and then we'll keep the A's going on the tires. So A, and A. So pretty much straight A's. Really good report card on ICAN's FL MAX 38 wheels. So these new FL MAX 38 wheels from ICAN tested out really good in all those checks. Straight A's across the board. This is going to make a really nice set of climbing wheels for me. It's their lightest set of the whole series at just over 1,300 grams. So this should go uphill really nicely. And from the series, they offer wheels for whatever you're looking for, from aerodynamics to climbing to wider tires, from 28s all the way up to 45s. So it's quite a nice selection, and they're all at affordable pricing too. So I hope you enjoyed the review and learned something, and I hope if you're interested in these wheels, you'll check them out. If you have any questions about the wheels, just drop a comment. I'll reply as soon as I can. And don't forget to watch part 1 if you didn't watch it. I'll provide the link to that right after this. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.